Alright, time for another DraftPhysics.com, DebatePhysics.com also, but the debater's not even close. So, I guess I'll deal with some of these older comments. Now, this Jerry jerk, okay, just posted a comment on the video I just did, pointing out the arguments. You know, argument one, it's the lever argument. You have to explain how the balance isn't perfect evidence, how it's a flawed experiment. See, I can explain why denting clay with round things don't work, okay? That it's theoretical crap. It won't give you a right answer, okay? Because it's nonlinear. I can also explain the argument he made. So he brought up the rolling distance. I've been over that so many times. I mean, clearly it rolls 4 times as far, but it only rolls twice as long. It's only in gravity applying friction, 2 units of gravity applying friction. And the friction is what's pulling the energy out of the object. Its momentum is declining as the ground's momentum increases. You have zero evidence that it puts 4 times the energy into the ground, and you certainly don't have any evidence that you've actually collected the energy. So go ahead and crash it into something and see what happens. I mean, it's just such a bogus argument experiment. It's a piece of garbage. And, you know, it's not on the subject. Your obligation is to explain how levers are lying. That's the obligation. You're saying the lever is lying. It's telling you that there's a direct equality between a 1 mass going 4 velocity and a 4 mass going 1 velocity. That those two quantities are equal. It will produce them with the same energy, the same rotational energy, oscillation will produce both of those actions, indicating they're both equally require the same fuel. That's what you have to explain. How is that experiment invalid? What's the flaw in it? So just as I had to explain how round objects didn't clay differently depending on velocity, you have to explain how levers lie. And you didn't do that. So I did save your comment. I can save it for later, okay, when I'm on that subject. Like probably not until, it's probably not until the 4th argument. There's so many arguments against kinetic energy. I mean, it's a terrible, awful piece of garbage as a theory. It's a holy ghost. You can't defend it. You can't. And that's just a fact. You can't defend it because there's no evidence of it. It fails the test. The ballistic pendulum says, I can't find it. 10-ton train converted, 5-ton train, 10-ton, no, I can't find it there either. Professional bowlers can't find it. Can't use it, can't find it. Doesn't exist. It's nonsense. Alright, should be back. Alright, so I didn't complete these comments before, so I'll do them now. Obviously, that's why the video is called comments. But again, the video's marked argument, okay, about kinetic energy. You have to, if you're going to comment on those videos, you have to address the subject of the frickin' video. That's the whole problem with your debate, is that you don't respond to any of the actual arguments. So I'm giving you your opportunity to present your counter evidence. I'm going to publish this paper, my argument, next to your argument. So you have to provide some sort of counter argument to my claim. It's an absolute, rock solid, indestructible proof, okay, that there is no such thing as kinetic energy. There's only momentum. Okay, also you say you want to debate, but when I disagree and debate you, so you don't debate any of my arguments, you don't address any of the arguments, it's 9.8 meters per 1 second. Where did you address that argument? It's not seconds, it's not just any old unit, it's not any amount of unit, it's 1 unit, 1 second. Where have you addressed that argument? Well, that's right, you haven't. Okay. You say I'm belligerently dishonest. Yes, you just proved it. Okay. You just can't believe gasp. Someone disagrees with you. So obviously I've lived my whole life disagreeing with people. So that's not a not even close to an issue, because yes, I've always been an atheist and always been an evolutionist, and since I was 5 years old, and so I've always encountered people with loop-de-doo silly notions of reality. Yeah. And I've argued with them. Okay. If everyone really agrees with you, then where's the debate? So there shouldn't be any. Why do you think there always has to be disagreement? Do you think there's no truth? I mean, if I said water's wet, do you think I should really get a disagreement? Do you really think so? What goes up comes down. I mean, I guess suppose we have to have really explicit statements. I could put something white and I could put something black, and I could say the white thing is whiter than the black thing. I could say that, right? Could anybody disagree? No, nobody could disagree. So fuck you. What useless trivial mush. So this is all he produces, is this mush. He doesn't counter any of the actual arguments. Nothing. Alright, so Jerry the jerk. Okay, look, I get it. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but when you start throwing shade at mainstream physics, so I'm going to throw more than that at it. It's absolute baby goo-goo shit. Okay, what they're talking now is so nonsense. I just saw a Royal Institution lecture. First it was Sean Carroll doing the many world thing. Like, that theory is solid enough? Oh, come on. But some nutty woman talking about gravity, and it was this silly, she said the equivalency principle is the fact that feathers fall at the same rate as hammers do. I mean, she can't even get the basic concepts right. That's nothing to do with the equivalency principle. And the very idea that, gravity treats everything the same. No, it's treating things exactly different. That's why when the hammer hits the ground, it makes a big giant crater. When the feather hits the ground, it doesn't do shit. Obviously, it didn't treat the two things the same. It treated the atoms it's made of the same. That's right. The electrons and protons were treated the same. And one of them has a whole bunch more electrons and protons. So one of them got a lot more energy. It collected a lot more because it has a lot more little cells collecting the energy. I mean, it was just so fucking stupid. So I'm going to be saying more about mainstream physics is insanely silly, stupid goop. It's a fucking cartoon. It's a silly cartoon. It's not even close to the truth. It's not even close to reasonable. It's all unevidenced flat earth crap. I mean, they barely have a glimmer of some. Again, I've compared it to Sasquatch. They're showing you a Sasquatch picture with the zipper right there. The guy's zipper is right there for you to look at. And they're saying, look, aren't you convinced? Quantum computer, right? It went beep beep, didn't it? Well, that proves it, right? It works. Beep beep, yep, works. It did a green screen of death. Isn't that blue screen of death? Isn't that proof it works? Fuck you. Okay, it's like saying, hey, gravity. Why would I do this? Hey, gravity, question mark. Nah, that's just Earth being clingy. Your theory is like that. Some bent geodesic makes it happen. Yeah, the magical bent nothing. There's actually a nothing and it's bent. That's my theory. Fuck you until goddamn dead. You are such a miserable, stupid, silly fuck. I mean, frankly, I've talked about every element of what gravity's doing in the sense that it batches a light bulb in reverse, the inverse square law, the fact that it's particles moving the speed of light. I mean, all of those details, and you type this shit. I mean, how dishonest can you be to paraphrase all of my arguments as that? No, it's just Earth being clingy. You think that's fair? You wad of shit? Human garbage is all you are. All right, let's break it down. What a joke. This ought to be hilarious. Who's going to break something down? Mainstream physics, it's not a conspiracy. So again, I've never said it was a conspiracy, ever. I've never implied even that it could be a conspiracy. What I've stated is you're stupid fucking religious dupes. That's what I've stated. More than half the world's population believes in a fairy princess god. Okay? So clearly people are dumbass. And guess what? The people pretending to be smart, they still haven't got out of dumbass. They're smarter than the dumber asses, but they're not out of dumbass. They're still living there. They're still fooled by the simplest things. They still aren't doing any physics. They're fucking mathematicians. They don't know what a concept is. They really don't get, how to play the game. Okay, they have theory, but they don't have any, no coordination. Their mental they have no coordination to put things together that, oh, you mean it actually has to fit into reality? Oh, you mean I have to some way explain how something silly like particles being in the same location is totally bizarre and silly? Fuck you. I mean, they might as well be telling you, you could see better if your eyes were in your anus. It's the collective brain power of generations of scientists. So again, this is more nonsense. It's Leibniz. What are you talking about? Where's the collective brain power? It's always a few morons who have the publishing priority. Okay, they either have the money or some sort of prestige. They define the agenda. There's no game outside of that. This is just like the popes and the bishops have a meeting and decide they're going to rewrite something, and that's it. There's no collective anything. You're certainly never scrutinized. Nobody gets to show up at the trial and say, well, I have evidence that that's a lie, okay? They don't get to stand up and say, hey, how come your wave centers aren't in your math? I mean, if you're going to draw those silly waves, shouldn't your math use that position as where the vectors are coming from? The center of the wave? I mean, don't the vectors have to come from the center of the wave? You don't allow those questions. All right. Mainstream physics isn't a secret handshake club. So again, never one of my accusations, ever. What it is just like a religion. You all bake cakes together, whatever. You rub each other's little heinies. You say how special and cool you are. That's all it is. It's absolute crap. All right, this is the reason we have GPS. So again, more bullshit lies about how the technology was first arranged and how it's corrected. So more lies. MRI machines does not need anything. You don't have to believe in entanglement or superposition or antimatter to have built the machine. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. So all this is just lies. You have no proof that any of these things required any of that knowledge. Just like the blue LED, it's been documented how it was created, and it's really a chemistry question. It was an argument about chemistry. How can we create this ionic chemistry? And that's all it was. You people are such liars. All right, kinetic energy. You claim it's a myth. I claim it's a fable. Okay, a myth is different. It's a fable. It's a fairy story. It's something you try to fool a baby with. It's so bad. Okay. Leibniz was buried a nothing. No one liked him. No one. There wasn't a single scientist on Earth who gave a shit he was dead. Not a single one. Well, tell that to the sprinter breaking records on the roller coaster ride, screaming their lungs out. So again, how do any of those things prove the existence of mv squared? Oh, that's right, they don't in any way whatsoever. I mean, how can you post stuff so fucking disgustingly weak? You know what the arguments are. You have to have a piece of evidence. Where is your evidence that somebody running twice as fast has 4 times the energy? Where is your evidence? Where is your evidence that somebody running 5 times as fast has 25 times the energy? Where is your piece of evidence? Oh, that's right, you don't have any. Oh, I just can't believe this shit they type. Alright, kinetic energy is as real as your misplaced confidence. So, again, a misnomer. I mean, that's like you couldn't get more apples and oranges. You could have compared it to some other physical fact. Okay, like maybe the fact that gravity is a time-dependent force. It's 9.8 meters per 1 second. Yeah, maybe it's as real as that. Maybe you should try to compare it to something actually on the subject. All right. It is the energy of motion. So this is just baby talk. That's not the question. Both Leibniz and Newton both called it motion. It doesn't. That has nothing to do with squaring the motion. The turbo boost for particles. So where do we have any evidence of this turbo boost, whatever the fuck that is? What are you talking about, turbo boost? Where have you proven the existence of turbo boost? Where? I mean, the spaceship example proves the point in the sense that you can't move anything with this energy. You can't move a spaceship with it. It's just going to matter your momentum. It's the only thing you're going to, if you're going to throw stuff out of your spaceship to navigate. Do you think a NASA scientist is going to tell you you're going to get more energy if you throw light things fast than if you throw heavy things slow? Do you really think he's going to tell you that? Well, I'm pretty damn confident he's not going to tell you that. But we can't ask him, can we? Right? Because it's a physics question. You can't ask physics questions. All right, look. Look, I get it. You're edgy. I know. I don't get you at all. Okay? I don't get you being such a scumbag, a lying sack of stinking, rotten, crappy shit. Why the fuck? What raised you? What kind of monster raised you to be a lying sack of shit? Okay. But insulting people who disagree with you? Question mark. You don't disagree with me. You make statements that are plainly not true. You characterize things in ways that are completely dishonest. Okay. That's like trying to win a chess game by flipping the board. Says you again. You're the ones running. You have run away. You won't even sit in the chair. You're running away. You won't even make move one. Okay? You're just running and farting on your way out the door. All right, let's evaluate the discourse. Science thrives on curiosity. What a lie. Just an absolute lie. It thrives on bullshit. Okay, and the more phantasmagorical, gooey, and, oh, rub my nipples. It's rub my nipple physics, okay? Look, you watch this. I'm going to play that fucking video by that douchey woman. I mean, it's oh, we're all connected. Gravity is connecting us all. And we're all love. It's fucking goddamn pukable. It's not science. Ugh, you're just disgusting. Not keyboard warriors. Well, what the fuck are you? You're just a troll, fucker. A lousy, rotten, petty piece of shit troll who can't make an argument on the actual subject. Okay. So, insulting mech science denier. Who the fuck is that? Next time you're tempted to dismiss mainstream physics, remember what? What are you talking about? Even the thinnest quarks dance to the myth of the universe, the rhythm of the universe. So here, he's just one of these sissies. He's one of these little prancers. He wants to prance in the universe in his tutu. Oh, it's so girly. You're just such little girls doing physics. And hey, if you need a hug, oh, there he keeps going, or a physics textbook, hit me up. God, I'd like to kick you to the fucking curb, you piece of lousy, stinking, rotten shit. What a scumbag you are. Alright. I mean, he's seen all this stuff, right? I've perfectly simulated charge with 2 + 2 + 3 physics. Just 2 kinds of force, 2 kinds of matter, 3 interactions. Perfectly simulated. And he talks this shit to me. This fucking piece of dirt. Alright. We know that Newton didn't read everything Huygens wrote. We know that Newton didn't pay much attention, maybe. I'm just saying, Newton was very busy. So there were books on his shelf that he hadn't read, but I'm just saying it's one little reference in Huygens' paper. I'm just saying, do you think Newton went to every one of Huygens' lectures or any of that crap? Do you think so? Anyway, Huygens, among others, published the rules of collisions of hard bodies, and we're talking about one tiny sentence in all of those rules. So obviously 99% of the rules have to do with 50 in, 50 out. Okay, it's only this one little tiny experiment where you do this weird little, oh, well, we'll put 100 in and we'll get 300 out. Okay, then Newton, in his most important book, wrote that these people, Huygens included, got the rules right. Well, I'm just saying, I'll say it again. Right under the second law, Newton wrote twice the force, twice the velocity, 3 times the force, 3 times the velocity. All right? And why would he have a third law that says equal and opposite reactions when the bullet goes with 2,000 joules and the gun only goes with 2? Why would he say it? Oh, that's right. You don't answer any of these points. Oh, that's right. It's a waste of my time to make these points. So yes, if you don't answer those 2 questions, you can't comment anymore. So you first explain why Newton wrote twice the force, twice the velocity. Okay, and then explain why he has a third law that says equal and opposite when obviously all of these kinetic energy explosion type things aren't equal and opposite. So why'd he say it? I mean, if it's not equal and opposite energy, wouldn't you think Newton would know, oh, if it's mv squared, why are we talking about quantity of motion? It doesn't mean anything. God, you can't do anything with that. If the quantity conserved is mv squared, then why would you pay any attention to momentum? And again, you can't conserve both. So again, these people are so full of lies, they haven't even addressed the fact that you cannot conserve both. It's impossible. Oh, they're just such little pieces of garbage. All right, Newton just didn't pay attention. Let's see. Wrote that he got the rules right. This is a fact. Yeah, and again, I'm telling you that Newton didn't say that about mv squared. So if you want to say that Newton said that about all the other experiments that Huygens did, or any of the other statements Huygens made, fine. I'm just saying, you don't think that that's basically most of the experiments? Momentums are just fine. There's no problem. You're not making free momentum. You want to point out the other experiment where free momentum is made besides the experiment where you crash a 1 into a 3 or a 1 into a 5 and get all this extra momentum? What other experiment does it happen in? And your argument is that maybe Newton didn't pay any attention. Is that your final answer? Yes, it's my final answer. I have absolute hard confidence that Newton did not believe in mv squared. And again, why would D. Chardollet waste all of this time arguing that point? Why was there a vis visa controversy if Newton didn't disagree? Could you just explain why hundreds of people have written about it? It's a real thing. Go on the internet and look it up. It's a real controversy. Voltaire, lots of people involved. Why would they be involved if Newton believed in mv squared? You idiot. You lunatic. Why did Newton write, oh, good, twice the force, twice the velocity, 3 times the force, 3 times the velocity? He wrote a double force will generate double motion. Okay, so I'm just going to block you. That's exactly the same statement. A double force will generate a double the motion. The motion is the velocity. There's no other way to call motion anything other than a velocity. I mean, goddamn. Yeah, I'm blocking you. Fuck this. This is too ridiculous. Which sounds good to me. If you apply twice the force to an object, you make it accelerate twice as fast and give it twice the velocity per unit of time. So then we're done. I mean, you can't create more energy that way. The force is the only thing that can have the extra energy. It's the only thing that could give the thing the extra energy. You can't claim it otherwise. Then you're just talking momentum. Twice the force, twice the velocity is a momentum argument. It is not a kinetic energy argument. I guess your mistake is thinking that force is energy. Of course it is. How could it be understood any other way? Force is not momentum. It's not possible for you to say, oh, it has 25 times the force. You know, something spinning 5 times as fast has 25 times the force it can apply. Are you saying it can't apply 25 times the force? Okay, well, fuck it. There's no point in communicating with you. You're just such a liar. All right, fuck off. I mean, it's just too ridiculous. Like I said, to claim that Newton believed in mv squared is too ridiculous. I mean, it's first grotesque that you would insult Newton, a dead guy who can't defend himself. And the amount of evidence is so huge and voluminous that everybody knew he disagreed with Leibniz. I mean, it's a historical fact. It's not some kind of misimpression. All right, so this was some asshole. I mean, they're all assholes, but a spectacular one. LOL, I'm 9 minutes in, and you're doing is whining about professor not responding to you personally. No, that's not. I didn't ask him to respond to me personally. What I did was suggest that, guess what? I have found something that's definitely going to be interesting. If you are looking for simple things that create complexity, this is it. It's because it's duplicating a real physical phenomenon, the interaction between electrons and protons. And again, duplicating it quite perfectly. Okay. Where he clearly gets a lot of people reaching out to him and has set up automated systems in place to filter out some crazy people. I'm just saying, if that's the filter they have, that even when somebody says, hey, you know what, it's only a couple of minutes of your time, and I think it's going to be worth your trouble, and they still don't even just take a look, I would. No. Okay, you used the word pathetic a lot so far. I wonder if you reach some self-awareness by the end of the video. Yeah, well, whatever. You think you're so smart. Well, no, you're really dumb. This is a guy who plays video games all day. So I did look at his channel. He's a gamer. Okay. Oh my God, now you're actually talking about science or trying to see why you're getting ignored. Laughing my fucking ass off. Experimental evidence for a neutron being a proton and electron. Laughing my fucking ass off. So apparently he doesn't know that this is something all the physicists know now. Okay, is that yes, that's what neutrons decompose into: an electron, a proton, and of course the anti-neutrino, which we can ignore first because it has nothing, it has no energy, and it's also a fable. Okay, so I say, do you concede that conventional physicists routinely say that a neutron decays outside the nucleus in about 8 minutes, and it decays, I think it might be 15 minutes, but I'm not sure, into an electron, a proton, and an anti-neutrino? You don't think the decay products define what something was made out of? And he says, so to be clear, your only experimental evidence for a neutron being a proton and an electron is that neutrons decay into that and something else that you just ignore. I explain why I ignore it. It's bad enough it's a neutrino, but an anti-neutrino, yeah, no chance. Too ridiculous. All right. It's just so funny. Okay. And your accusation is that if I think, okay, let's see if he says, I don't think he says antimatter is nonsense, and your accusation is that if I think antimatter is nonsense and disregard it, nearly energyless antineutrino being unreasonable. I'm somehow being unreasonable for, yes, that's my argument. So I said, yeah, that's it, you dumb fuck. All right, so that was my comment. My model, okay, no, that's, so I broke the two comments. You need to understand that QFT, to understand that, it makes predictions. Your model can't even, so he says something really stupid, make chemical energy scale predictions. Well, of course it can, but, that's not very important to the points I wish to make. I mean, I'm, simulating charge. I'm doing something more important than that. All right, so I'm just going. I just point out, my model perfectly simulates charge and also perfectly explains the two-slit experiment without any interference or entanglement. To be clear, you're conceding that two of the products that come out of a neutron's decay are an electron and a proton? And your accusation is that if I think antimatter is nonsense and disregard its nearly energyless anti-neutrino, I'm being unreasonable. So you're claiming I'm unreasonable if I don't believe in anti-neutrinos. Okay. Yes, your entire comment is unreasonable. So, I mean, it's just, you see? Now they think that's some sort of reasonable response to my point. So I basically demonstrated that you were full of shit to say I was wrong to say a neutron is built out of a proton and an electron. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to speculate about. And, no, you're proven wrong. And the very fact that you're actually claiming that if somebody doesn't believe in antimatter, they're unreasonable, because the evidence is so overwhelming. I mean, this is so fucking, religious people aren't this obnoxiously arrogant. So is your entire video, and so is your entire unphysical model. So isn't that amazing? My model has physical actors in it. There's no bent space. There's no wooey wooey ESP. Everything has to be a physical event. Nothing happens in my model unless two physical things have to physically interact. And he says unphysical model. So this is how dishonest these people are. They cannot possibly make a reasonable argument. They can't touch anything I'm saying with a reasonable argument. They just do this slander and this nonsense. Congrats, you wrote some code that does some stuff. So is that how I should just qualify Wolfram? You wrote some code that does some stuff. That's it. You didn't prove anything. It doesn't show anything. It doesn't mean anything. Oh, it only perfectly simulates charge, but it's meaningless. It's just so amazing. Now make some quantitative predictions. Yeah, I predict that you that the future isn't going to be you. Okay, the future is going to be me. All right. That do a better job of explaining observable phenomenon. I just did. I'm telling you, there's no 25 times the energy in something going 5 times faster. It doesn't happen. It's not real. It doesn't exist. Okay. Then your models, you won't because you can't. So lie. You're the one who has no evidence, and you just lie. Okay. To call my model unphysical is just an insane lie. So, yeah, just block them, the moron. Boy, this mouse is irritating. That's not going to help. That's the one I want. Fuck off. Well, I didn't fuck him off. So I guess I have to remove it too. God, these people are so disgusting. So Piro says after a comment by Superior Mind, so explain the math 1/2 part. Why would he explain the 1/2 part? It's a contrivance. It doesn't have anything to do with the reality. But without using math. Where have you done that? Where have you explained something without using math? But anyway, too ridiculous. All right, so there's no point. At what point does continuing the process cause the 1/2 part? And at what part does the cause the squaring part? yeah, all of that. He's the one asking you to answer. Yeah. Piro, you're just such a weasel. You're just such a weasel. Ooh, disgusting weasel. All right, let's see. Is there anything here worth bothering? Let's see what this asshole said. When they do that to you, they are not expressing their intellectual capacity, nor are they representing the scientific method. The scientific method is not an enclave community of peers or censorship. Well, I'm just saying, that's quite obvious. That's all there is. Science is only a method. Well, you keep arguing this. It's obviously not the method they're using. So what point are you making here? I don't see any point here. They are expressing anti-intellectualism and anti-science. Well, that's the important part, is they're expressing human ape behavior, and they are childish apes. They're not even a grown-up ape, because obviously they just want to do this touchy, feely physics. I want physics that makes me feel like I'm part of somebody. Because I'm a silly nerd. Alright, it's important to recognize that science is, and what it isn't, a label their behavior for what it is. Fine, but isn't that not the argument? The argument is this is what science physics is, okay? It's not these other sciences aren't perverted by this shit. Not nearly as much anyway. I mean, they do use that epigenetics thing, you know. The fake genetic theory that somehow if I spend my days helping old ladies across the street, somehow my, you know, if I was a woman, because men can't do it, but if I was a woman and I helped old ladies across the street, that somehow my chromosomes will get all nice and friendly. Yes, and I'll have better eggs. When no, the only truth is that you can be beaten up and starved and tortured, and your eggs will rot, and you'll have retarded kids. And once in a while, the retards will be spectacular retards. But yes, most of the time, they're not going to be idiot savants. They're just going to be the idiot part. All right, Scott Anderson is an expert in complexity theory and approaches things from the mathematical perspective. He says Wolfram is way out there, like on a different planet. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, you have to take this, you know, you have to parse things. Now, when Stephen Wolfram says, here's a train of dots, and I'm going to put these dots through a process, and the rule is when a red dot is next to a blue dot, it turns green. That doesn't, you can't, nobody can argue with that, okay? That's just saying, look, this simple, what happens when I take these simple rules and I play it out over 1 trillion permutations? What happens? That's perfectly good science, okay? So the guy can, but Stephen Wolfram doesn't know his ass from his elbow when it comes to quantum mechanics. He thinks all of this wooey crap is real. Okay, I mean, he thinks they could be in the same place. He believes in antimatter, entanglement, all of this horse shit. He thinks they can make a quantum computer. All right, he says Wolfram is way out there. He says most researchers are wary of one big assumption where Wolfram can handle a whole line of them with ease. I don't even know what that means, but obviously most of what Stephen Wolfram says is shit, and the only reason why I found him at all interesting is when he did talk about complexity. I think that was a good theme for him. I think he had some reasonable things to say on that subject, but on every other subject, yes, he's an idiot. He thought Leibniz was a good scientist. I mean, Leibniz wrote about solitons and monads. 90% of Leibniz's writings is religious shit. I mean, why would a scientist find that at all interesting? All right. So I think that's it. All right, so I don't think I'll bother with the Jerry's other comment today because, like I said, it's on the other subject, and I've done the rolling argument so many times. It's the thin ice argument. You know, the fact is that you're... If you're thinking about friction, you say, what is friction? Well, friction is taking energy from something and give it to something else. That's always what friction is. It's like it's like rubbing electrons off of a surface, okay? I mean, friction is taking the energy. It's moving it from one place to another place. There's no doubt about that. So moving objects lose their motion, their momentum, to the friction that goes into the ground. The momentum physically goes into the ground and starts moving the ground. And the simple truth is the only thing causing friction is the gravity, right? So if I put a slope here and I drop something right next to a surface, there's no friction, right? Because nothing's pushing it into the surface. So the only way you get friction on Earth is something has to push you into the surface. And you can understand that if I do this little tiny distance in 1 second, and I do this big distance in 1 second, well, I'm going to be per inch a lot heavier over here than I'm going to be over here per inch. Per inch, I'm going to weigh less over here than I'm going to weigh over here. because I'm spreading the pressure of the gravity over a big, long surface. Fact. And so it's only 2 units of gravity that you're in. That's only 2 units of friction. You've only produced 2 units of energy. You've only put 2 units of energy into the ground. Oh, this is so pathetic. All right. But that will be an argument for another day, right? When that subject becomes the video. Because frankly, rolling something down a ramp and seeing how far it goes, right? Crashing it into something, that's a valid experiment. Rolling it, no, it's not a valid experiment to measure energy. Because first we know that part of its energy is angular. But anyway, we know that Galileo already did all this stuff, and Galileo didn't think it was 4 times the energy. He knew that, oh yeah, it's less friction. You know, the faster it goes, the less it's being pushed into the ground, the less energy it's losing to the ground per unit of distance. All right, per foot or per inch or per centimeter, you weigh less. So when you slide across thin ice quickly, the amount of weight you're putting on the ice is less per a unit of distance. Jesus, these people are so stupid. I mean, this is like, you know, grammar school physics, that argument. I mean, I think really, literally, kids in 5th grade could understand if I drew on the blackboard a piece of ice and I explained, see, when you're going fast, all of the pressure, okay, of 10 pounds is over this whole area. And when you're just this little area, all of the pressure is in this small area. They could figure that out. God damn. Not these commenters. Nope. Too fucking stupid. I don't know what is wrong with this mouse. Could be recharged. Anyway. Alright. So I eventually get to the stop button. Eventually. Alright. So till the next time and such, I don't really think I have to add anything. Yeah, the simulation just gets better and better, so I probably should show that. I'll wait till a better mouse day. Well, maybe I can pause this and then I can do it. Come on. House, come on. There we go. No, I just play it from here. Let me change some settings, though. So you can change the size, but as I've argued, these objects are seeing each other, so they really have to be the same size, I believe, for them to be able to interact with each other in any kind of coherent way. Let's see, that's the wrong thing. Radius, screen mass. You know, the masses have to be. The masses can be different because the protons are heavier. That's why they end up in the nucleus. So this is force-bit radius. Why are these radiuses? Why can't I change now? Okay, that's a matter bit. All right. So, yeah. So let's make them that size. All right. So, let's see. I can change the number to. Yeah, let's not have 6. Let's have 4 and 3. So I can, you know, really, the fun part for me anyway is somebody checking it out all the time and all this other stuff. So let me see what this is. That's the radius, mass, force bits. What is this? Green matter bits. What is that? Oh, that's how many. Okay. Sorry. But you can slow it down, of course. And then you can watch each interaction, which is, you know, makes it a lot more interesting in some respects. And then we can reduce the number of force bits, and then I could make the force bits bigger. Let's see, at least that could be 4. There it is, yeah. So I can make them bigger. Alright, so the simple principle is, you know, those 3 interactions. If red hits a a green, it goes right through and turns red. Now they're not going straight through, which I have to get that part fixed, but it's pretty close. The other interactions are, if a red hits a red and it's moving the direction it's moving, then it sticks. If it's moving opposing the direction, then it reflects, and the other piece of energy reflects, slowing the object down. So it gets slowed down by opposing force, dragged, and accelerated by force going in the same direction. So that's pretty sensible. And yeah, and you quickly form these dipoles, and then the dipoles connect to each other and can start folding, and all kinds of interesting things can start to happen. So it's getting better and better, as stated. Now there's all the other features, but some of these features are a little bit, I can the trails don't really, not quite doing what you needed to see, which is the reds are producing red and the greens are producing green, but you really don't get that effect. But you can sort of see the balance and the randomness, and so it does give you some capacity to see that. This again is just the changed bits, so which is very nice. Where you can just see the ones that passed through and are now active, and then they'll pass through something else. So we could follow one of these and just see. Let's see. We'll see if a green bit comes up this way. Oh, that one went right through. See, the red came out a little bit crooked, so that part does need to be fixed. Green there, that one came out a little straighter, but it's a little crooked, so I got to get that fixed. All right. Anyway, I don't know what transitions is. You can turn the solids off, which is interesting too. And we should have. Where's the vector length? I don't see the vectors. Yeah, there are. Okay, so I can also have little pointers that tell you how much momentum it's gaining. So eventually, you can see that. Mostly. I guess I could make it a little bigger, and then you could see some of these details. So, this little line will point which way it's going. See, now the truth is, I think in actual space, it can have three directions. So once it has a direction, then it can have a direction this way, and it can have momentum this way. So it can have momentum in three different dimensions. And I'm just because it's a two-dimensional simulation, I'm just converting that into a composite motion, so instead of it moving this way and this way, which sort of is the physics, it's cheating a little bit, but I don't think that ruins it. But anyway, eventually we'll try it the other way, and eventually 3D, so what else do I have to say? It just reminded me of something talking about, it's that whole photon argument, the silly Einstein argument that photons can have two different momentums. That you could make a light clock and the photon would move in some diagonal direction. Photons can't do that. They can only move in one dimension. They're one-dimensional objects. They have one-dimensional momentum. You can't move a flashlight and then shoot the photons out, and the photons are moving this way and that way. They can't do that. And it's so obvious. I mean, again, it's the fifth graders could sort of understand these motion limitations, that yes, a material thing can have a baseball thrown off a train. That can have two motions, two velocities, two momentums. But a photon can't. I mean, shit, it's amazing you have to even argue this kind of crap. Alright, but anyway, the point is obviously it's doing a very good job of duplicating exactly what you would expect charged electrons and protons to do. Okay, this is what they would do if you put them in space. This is what they would do. Alright, and they would jitter and all that kind of stuff. Like when you move like I say, if you increase the speed and the force, it gets quite intense. See how high you can go. Yeah, okay, it used to be 1800, now we're back to 9000. So you're not seeing all of them rendered, because obviously that would slow the thing down a bit. But let's see how many we can render. And I'll turn off the changed. Yeah, it's a lot of force. But they really do just start really jittering, but they really smash into each other. So once you increase the force, it becomes quite obvious the dipoles won't fall apart. So the denser the force, the stronger the effects of the repulsion and the attraction, obviously. And yeah. So anyway. And so these people are arguing that Wolfram wouldn't find this interesting. Really simple rules. I mean, the force is all going the same speed. There's only two varieties of it, and you only have 3 different interactions between those 2 varieties. You wouldn't find that interesting. Now, I'm saying that I think if he could be obliged to look at the simulation, he'd say, oh, that's damn interesting. But whatever. If he's a scientist, he would. I don't know. I don't know how anyone who's has any interest in science wouldn't say, holy shit, that's what charges are doing. This is forming a nucleus. Can you see? Look, it's forming a nucleus. A bunch of dipoles stuck to each other. It's condensed. It's taken matter that was very far apart and put it very, very close together. And the trick is, if I could knock this electron out very quickly with a gamma ray, poof, it's out of there. These 2 red things, now all of the green force going this way and all of the green force going this way will be now turned to red, and it'll push those 2 things apart with a hell of a lot of pressure. They'll come flying out. You don't think that's perfectly in line with atomic theory, that that's a perfect duplication of the strong force? One of you would actually make an argument that this has nothing to do with it, that it's not in any way illustrating how nuclear force might be created. It's just 2 kinds of force, 2 kinds of matter, and 3 interactions, and it's duplicating it right there in front of you. I mean, I can actually put it in the simulation where we could just knock one of these out, and then you would see what happens. That everything gets converted. If I knock the red out, the 2 green things are just throwing green at each other. And so obviously they just keep moving away from each other. I mean, you know, not much to say, really. You people just suck. That's all there is to say. You just suck. Okay. So, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot.